Chapter 7. Yes, I had a plan to escape. Give me credit. All I had to do was get seen by one of the assistant eyes. Any animal at all, really, or most of them anyway. We can't count on the ducks. I've told you about the ducks. Would help if they saw me leashed. Any of the other animals would know something was wrong. The task was to get noticed. But inside this vehicle it was dark, and I was far from any windows. I had seen cars for as long as I could see, but had never been inside one. I know many of my kind enjoy being inside these metal moving boxes, but I did not enjoy it. Whatever appeal it might have held was diminished by my status as a captive. It was not pleasant. It was small and smelly and full of foul humans who wished for me a life I had not chosen. I needed to be out in the open again, at which point I would be soon seen and soon rescued. We animals of the park have engineered other rescues in the past. Once a month, some kid traps a mouse or frog, or a parks person snares a fox, and we have to make a plan. With the kids, it's easy. One of us startles the kids, scares them, distracts them, and their hands open, and the captured goes free. The parks people, it should be said, are generally smarter and more prepared for our disruptions. Still, though, I knew that Bertrand or Yolanda would soon know of my captivity. They were constantly circling the park, and the next time I was outside or near the windshield of this vehicle, they would see me held in the fist of this man. Or any bird would see, any squirrel. Freya would be told, the rest of them would be told, or they would realize there was trouble when I failed to report, and they would rally the rest, and that would be that. I was of value. I was the eyes. My absence would be noticed. Just then, the front door of the vehicle opened, and a fourth person ducked inside, grinning with unhappy eyes. My friends, I scored, but we gotta leave now. Rainbow, did you find something? Pamela said, and crawled forward to kiss his cheek. I did, Pam, the man said. I took his name to be Rainbow, which made me laugh a little. Bearded and scarred, small-eyed and scowling, he looked quite unlike a bending prism of multicolored light. Now his eyes fixed on me. Where'd you get that? He asked. Found him, Twisty said, and turned my leash around again in his fist. My head was brought closer to his knuckles. Well, does he bark? Rainbow asked, staring at me. No, Twisty said. He's cool. If he barks, I'll kill him. He won't, Twisty said, and he looked at me intensely as if I were contemplating barking and he meant to dissuade me. Have some of this, he said, and rummaged around until he found half a turkey sandwich. He thrust it into my snout, and I resisted. I did not want his turkey sandwich, or any turkey sandwich. The second he barks, I'll kick him in the stomach, Rainbow said, and then I'll kill him. He won't make a sound, Twisty said, and turned the leash one more time in his white fist. The fact is, I was contemplating barking. Barking, I hoped, would bring Bertrand or Angus, whose ears were exceptional even while he slept. But I didn't want to get kicked in the stomach, and I believed that was a real possibility. I had to think. I had to bide my time and use my bark at the best possible moment. The hierarchy here was confusing. I had been sure that Twisty was the leader of this band, but now this new man called Rainbow, who was shorter but wider than Twisty, was ordering everyone around, and they were fumbling and tumbling to obey. They followed his orders without question, and it looked like they'd done this kind of thing, this rapid exit, before. How much did you get? Pamela asked him. Plenty. The park rangers, or whatever they have here, are probably looking for me, so we gotta move, Rainbow said. Where'd you get it? Pamela asked, smiling with a rapturous kind of admiration. Never you mind, Rainbow said, and he was obviously very proud of himself, so much so that his humility gave way. Door was open, the cash box was there, and I took it and I split. Now we have to split. Out of the park, Pamela said. Precisely, my dear, Rainbow said. and he held her face in his 2 hands. Chapter 8. Now I knew the shape of things. I remembered the small silver box of money from that morning in the soccer park. Soon the park police and the city police would be looking through the park for the culprits. They might even close down the park exits. Twisty and Rainbow and Pamela needed to leave as soon as they could. Once in the city, they would be among 20 or 30 million other people in a million cars and trucks and would blend quickly into invisibility, and I would be with them inside this rolling metal container utterly unseeable. I looked around. The back of this vehicle, where I sat, was a vast boxy shape full of random things. 2 bicycles, a scooter, a horn of twisted gold, a musical instrument. And then I knew who these people were. These were robbers. These were thieves. They were truly trouble travelers, taking things that were not theirs and running away with them. There were so many things inside this vehicle. A pair of tennis rackets, someone's purse, someone's necklace, a stroller for a child. Oh, I did not like these humans. And I knew if they got me out of the park that my chances for rescue would plummet. My friends were in the park. Only a few of the birds ventured farther. I knew I had to get free before we left the green park and landed on the gray streets. The vehicle and all its stolen things was swiftly, loudly rumbling through the park's main road. I could see the gray of the city in the distance in front of us. I have to say, I began to panic then. There were no openings. The windows were closed, the doors impenetrable. The only source of hope was a tiny hole in the floor through which I could see the road rush, but it was too small, far too small for me. I would be lucky to pass a paw through it. Never before have I panicked, because my speed is a weapon against all worry. But now, leashed and caged in this moving metal box, I could not run. I had few options, and I was surrounded by humans with their clever hands. I began to despair. "I've always wanted a dog," Twisty said wistfully. And he meant me. He wanted a thing, and now that thing was me. I had been a dog, a free dog of limitless propulsive capacity and eyes without obstacle, and now I was a thing this man owned. I was the fulfillment of some desire he had. "My parents wouldn't let me get one," he went on, "but now I got one." "Kinda smells, though," Pamela said. She really said this. It is important to me that you know that I do not smell. I live outdoors, yes, and I partake in unwanted food, yes, and I have run through mud and rain and ocean water, but I am clean. The smell was theirs. These people in this vehicle, did I tell you this already? They smelled. Oh, they smelled. I had noticed it right away, but it was more obvious to me when Pamela made this errant remark about me and my own odor, which does not exist. The city was growing larger in the windshield. For the first time in my life, I didn't know what to do. Nothing I could do would get me free. The windows were closed. Even if I barked and leapt around and bit at random, nothing would change. And then Twisty turned me on my back and began rubbing my tummy. He did. "Aw, I think he likes it," Pamela said. She was incorrect, but I was smiling. I was smiling because, while on my back looking up, I noticed a window in the roof of the vehicle. There was a window, and across it I saw the passing shape of a great bird. It passed quickly but deliberately, and hope swelled within my heart. I squirmed free and got onto my feet again. I had to be ready. And then it happened. A great flurry of wings on the windshield started it off. The wings were almost as wide as the glass and blocked Rainbow's view completely. "Gah!" he said. Now, I don't think that is a word in any language, but that is what he said. He was so surprised, so startled. He stopped the vehicle. Now the wings calmed for a second, and I saw that it was Bertrand. I had assumed it was Bertrand, but now I knew for sure it was Bertrand. He peered through the windshield, looking for me. Finally, his eyes found mine, and he smiled a smile both confident and mischievous. I had never been so proud to have such a magnificent friend. Thump, came another bird. Yolanda. Oh, she is heavy. I had never before heard the sound of her landing on the front of a van like this, but wow, it was loud. She landed and then spread her wings, so much wider than Bertrand's even, and now there were two great birds on the hood of this vehicle, and the humans inside were screaming. Ah! Pamela yelled. Yeah! Twisty yelled. More thumps came, more and more and more, and from more and more and more birds. They were everywhere. Every window was darkened by birds flapping their wings and cracking their beaks against the glass. Even I was unnerved, and these were my friends. Finally, Bertrand gave me the briefest of winks, as if to say, "This madness is for them, my friend, not you." It was a frightening commotion and was having all the desired effects. The vehicle was stopped, the humans were terrified, and soon I could be free. But how? The windows were still closed, the doors were closed, and the people inside seemed disinclined to open any of these openings, given the onslaught of wings and beaks outside. Rainbow began driving again. The van lurched and soon was moving far faster than before. Ha ha ha! Rainbow yelled, because Bertrand and Yolanda, who had been standing on the hood and flapping their wings, were now thrust upward and behind us. They would regain their wings and catch up momentarily, but we were so close to the city, closer than ever, and once there, everything would change. And then I heard a scream, like I'd never heard a scream. It was so high and so loud and so spiraling, I thought first of fire. Were we all on fire? "Hey there," said a voice, and I saw it was Sonia. Yes, I thought, this hole in the floor, of course. While the van had been stopped, a squirrel would have had time to make it through, and had in fact made it through, and this squirrel happened to be Sonia. She said hello to me as she leapt from human to human, scratching and terrifying every one of them. Oh, Lord, she was fast. Have you ever seen a squirrel in a confined space jumping from person to person with the express purpose of causing havoc? It is something. Never have I seen so much chaos in one small place at one time. She was in Pamela's hair, and then Twisty's, and then she was all over Rainbow's head and eyes and ears until he had no choice but to stop the vehicle and throw open the door to escape. "You coming or what?" Sonia asked me, so casually and so brightly it was as if she were inviting me to look at the sunset on a Thursday. Rainbow had fled through the open door and was running from the vehicle, his arms flailing around his head in a way I thought was very funny and very sad. And yes, I followed Sonia. First, I gave a nice chomp on Twisty's leg to free his hand from my leash. Oh, when that leash went slack, it was glorious. And then, with two mighty strides, I was at the steering wheel, and then I leapt through the open door and out into the light again. I followed Sonia back to the safety of the park, back to the woods, as Bertrand and Yolanda and everyone else thumped their wings and rose above the treetops, cackling and whooping in happy skyward soundings.